3:33 a.m., complete darkness, a chair, 2 mirrors, 3 candles, and something in the peripheral vision that shouldn't be there. Welcome to the Hidden Path. Tonight I'm going to tell you what happens when you sit in the throne at 3:33 a.m., when you become the king, when you open yourself to whatever exists in the spaces between mirrors. This is the Three Kings ritual, and the people who've tried it, they don't sleep the same way anymore. Let me tell you about Alex, 22 years old, college student, rational, skeptical, the kind of person who rolls their eyes at ghost stories and horror movies. He found the Three Kings ritual on Reddit one night while procrastinating on a paper. The instructions were elaborate, specific, almost ceremonial, and the warnings at the end were intense. Do not look directly at either mirror. Do not turn on any lights until 6 a.m. If you hear your name called, do not answer. If you see something move, do not acknowledge it. Alex laughed. It was all so dramatic, so obviously fake. He decided to try it, document the whole thing, prove it was nonsense. He spent a week preparing, found the darkest room in his apartment, a windowless storage room, gathered the materials, a chair, 2 large mirrors, 3 candles, a cell phone for the alarm, a bucket of water, a fan. At 11 p.m., he set everything up exactly as the instructions said. The chair in the center of the room facing the door, 1 mirror to his left, 1 to his right, both angled so he could see them in his peripheral vision, but not directly. 1 candle in front of him, 1 behind each mirror. The fan set low, pointing at his back. Then he sat down, turned off all the lights, lit the candles, and he waited. The instructions said to start at 11 p.m. and sit until 3:33 a.m. 4.5 hours, no phone, no distractions, just sitting, waiting, staring at the darkness of the doorway ahead. For the first hour, Alex was bored. His legs cramped. His back ached. He kept checking his watch, watching the minutes crawl by. By the second hour, the boredom turned into something else, a strange hyper-awareness. Every tiny sound became amplified. The hum of the refrigerator in the next room, the settling of the building, his own breathing, and the candles, the way their flames flickered, casting shadows that moved across the walls in rhythms that didn't quite match the air current from the fan. By the third hour, Alex started seeing things in his peripheral vision. The mirrors. They weren't reflecting what they should be reflecting. He could see himself, yes, his silhouette in the candlelight, but there were shapes, movement, things that appeared at the edges of the reflection and vanished when he tried to focus on them. At 3:15 a.m., Alex heard his name, soft, distant, coming from somewhere behind him. Or maybe from one of the mirrors, he couldn't tell. Lex. He didn't answer. The instructions said not to answer. At 3:30 a.m., the fan stopped working. The flames on the candles went completely still, and in the silence, in the absolute darkness beyond the candlelight, Alex felt it. A presence. Not in the room, not exactly, but close, on the other side of something. Watching through the mirrors. Waiting. At 3:33 a.m., Alex saw them. The figures, 1 in each mirror, standing behind his reflection, not moving, just there. Tall, indistinct, humanoid but wrong. Proportions that didn't quite make sense. And they were looking at him. Alex's heart hammered in his chest. Every instinct screamed at him to run, to turn on the lights, to end this immediately. But the instructions were clear. Do not leave the throne before dawn. Do not turn on the lights. Do not look directly at the mirrors. So he sat, frozen, staring straight ahead at the dark doorway, aware of the figures in his peripheral vision, aware of the wrongness pressing in from both sides. Minutes stretched into eternities. And then, at 3:41 a.m., one of the figures moved. It stepped closer to the glass. Alex broke. He grabbed the bucket of water, doused the candles, and ran, slammed the door behind him, turned on every light in his apartment, sat on his couch, shaking until the sun came up. That was 6 months ago. Alex still sees them sometimes. In mirrors, in windows, in any reflective surface, when the light is just wrong. He knows now that you can't unsee what you've seen. You can't close a door that was never meant to be opened. The three kings showed themselves, and once they do, they never really leave. So what is the Three Kings ritual? Where did it come from, and why does it break the people who try it? Unlike most summoning rituals, Three Kings doesn't have ancient folklore roots. It appeared on the internet in the early 2000s, spreading through forums and Reddit threads dedicated to paranormal experiences and daring games. Some say it's based on older meditation practices meant to induce altered states of consciousness. Others claim it's a modern recreation of occult rituals designed to thin the veil between worlds. But the core concept is simple and terrifying. You make yourself the center, the king. You sit on a throne in complete darkness, flanked by mirrors, and you wait. You open yourself to whatever exists in the spaces we don't normally see. The gaps, the shadows, the things that live in reflections. The ritual is called Three Kings because there are 3 points of awareness. You, the living physical presence, and 2 others, the figures in the mirrors, the entities that exist in peripheral vision, in altered states, in the thin moments between waking and something else. The instructions are specific for a reason. Every element has a purpose. The darkness isolates you, removes visual distractions, forces your mind to fill the void. The mirrors create infinite reflections, angles that shouldn't exist, spaces that fold back on themselves. The candles provide just enough light to see movement, but not enough to see clearly. Your brain fills in the gaps, and sometimes what it fills in isn't coming from your imagination. The fan at your back creates constant, subtle sensation, a reminder that you're still in the physical world, or a way to feel when something else moves past you. The time, 3:33 a.m., the witching hour, the dead hour, the moment when the barrier between worlds is thinnest. And the most important rule, do not look directly at the mirrors, because peripheral vision is where things hide. Where your subconscious processes information your conscious mind refuses to accept. Where you see what you're not supposed to see. Looking directly grounds you in reality. Peripheral vision lets you see through. And sometimes what's on the other side sees you too. The people who've done the Three Kings ritual report remarkably consistent experiences. Not everyone sees the figures. Not everyone hears their name. But everyone describes the same progression. Phase 1, boredom, discomfort. The rational mind dismissing everything as silly. Phase 2, hyper-awareness. Every sound amplified, every shadow suspicious. The slow realization that sitting in darkness for hours changes your perception. Phase 3, the shift. Around the 3rd hour, something changes. The room feels different. The air feels heavier. The darkness isn't empty anymore. Phase 4, the presence. Between 3 a.m. and 4 a.m., almost everyone reports feeling watched. Not from the mirrors, through them. Like the reflections or windows and something on the other side is looking in. And then there are the figures. Some people see shadowy shapes. Others see distinct humanoid forms. A few see faces. Their own faces, but wrong. Expressions they're not making. Eyes that don't blink. One person reported seeing themselves in the mirror, but older, decades older, staring back with hollow eyes and an expression of profound sadness. Another saw a child in the reflection, standing behind the chair, even though no child was in the room. When they broke the rules and looked directly, the mirror showed only their own reflection. But in the peripheral vision, the child was still there, still watching. Others report stranger things, whispers in languages they don't recognize, the sensation of a cold breath on the back of their neck, the certainty that if they turn around, they'll see something that will break their mind. But the most disturbing reports come from the people who followed all the rules, who sat until dawn, who ended the ritual properly, dousing the candles, turning on the lights, breaking down the setup. Because even doing everything right doesn't guarantee you walk away unscathed. Many report lingering effects, sleep disturbances, nightmares featuring the figures from behind the mirrors, a persistent feeling of being watched, especially in darkness, especially near reflective surfaces. Some develop what they call mirror anxiety, an inability to look at mirrors without checking the reflection for something that shouldn't be there. And a few, like Alex, report that the figures never fully left. They linger at the edges, in peripheral vision, in moments of darkness. Always there, always watching. Because the Three Kings ritual doesn't just let you see them, it lets them see you. And once they know you exist, once you've acknowledged their presence, they don't forget. So here's what you need to understand about the Three Kings ritual. It's not a game. It's not a fun dare. It's not something you try because you're bored or curious or want content for social media. The people who created this ritual, whoever they were, understood something about human consciousness, about perception, about the spaces between waking and dreaming. Sitting in complete darkness for hours surrounded by mirrors, with only candlelight and your own thoughts, that's sensory deprivation. That's psychological stress. That's a recipe for altered states of consciousness. Your brain, desperate for stimulation, starts creating patterns where none exist. Seeing movement, hearing sounds, filling the void with whatever it can pull from your subconscious. That's the scientific explanation. But science doesn't explain the consistency of the experiences. Why so many people see the same things? Why the figures appear in both mirrors? Why 3:33 a.m. is when everything intensifies? Science doesn't explain why people who've never read others' accounts describe identical entities. Tall, shadowy, watching, waiting. Science doesn't explain the lingering effects, the way the experience changes people, the way they can't look at mirrors the same way, the way they wake up at 3:33 a.m. for months afterward, heart pounding, certain something is in the room with them. Maybe it's all psychological. Maybe the ritual is designed to traumatize, to create false memories, to exploit our deepest fears of darkness and isolation and the unknown. Or maybe, just maybe, there are things that exist in the spaces we don't normally perceive. Things that become visible when we remove the filters of light and distraction and rational thought. Things that notice when we notice them. Things that cross over when we create doorways. The Three Kings ritual isn't asking, do ghosts exist or is there life after death? It's asking a much more terrifying question. What exists in the space between your reflection and your reality? What lives in the angles that shouldn't exist? The perspectives that fold back on themselves? The moments when you glimpse something in your peripheral vision and your rational mind says nothing, but your instincts scream run? And once you've asked that question, Once you've sat in the throne and waited in the darkness and opened yourself to whatever might answer, you can't unask it. You can't unsee what you've seen. You can't unfeel what you felt. The three kings show themselves to those who seek them, and they never fully leave. Alex still lives in that apartment. He removed the mirrors from the storage room, threw away the chair, refuses to be in any room with two mirrors facing each other. But every night at 3:33 a.m., he wakes up, and he feels them, standing beside his bed, one on each side, just outside his peripheral vision. The three kings, waiting for him to look. So if you're thinking about trying this ritual, if you're reading the instructions right now, gathering materials, planning a night to sit in the throne, ask yourself, what are you hoping to see? Because whatever you're hoping for, what you'll actually encounter might be something else entirely. Some doors are better left closed. Some questions don't need answers. And some thrones were never meant to be sat upon. This is the hidden path. Whatever you do tonight, don't sit in the darkness alone. They're already watching.